But welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the house variety, it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Being kind is the guys in this mess in the first place.
Put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, spanking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And I don't know if you already saw this, perhaps you have, but Google has been revealed to be in the midst of a 6-month, $45 million contract with the Israeli Prime Minister's office to amplify propaganda denying the starvation of Gaza. A deal that began just days after Israel once again resumed blocking all aid into the Strip. So that is just once again a reminder of why they chose to make their slogan a long time ago, to be sure. Don't be evil rather than don't do evil. A lot of people failed to notice that there is a distinction there. It is possible to do evil and still supposedly not be being evil. Hello, Badger. Hello, Adria. That I do not know. Yesterday, I found the video that I really wanted to look at from on this whole dark money thing with Pac-Man yesterday, after the stream, of course. So I thought we might start that up. Just for anyone who was not here yesterday, we were looking at the responses of various liberal centrist YouTubers who have been revealed to be connected to a dark money op called the 1630 Fund. And David Pac-Man, and they're doing a really fascinating job of not actually responding to the article in question. The article in question is not about Chorus, and it does not say anything about who their money is from, apart from the 1630 Fund. Because there's no way to really know for sure where the money for the 1630 Fund comes from. But so, naturally, Pac-Man does not want to talk at all, doesn't say a thing about the 1630 Fund, and instead tries to make it about AIPAC, which he pretends not to know how to pronounce. But okay, so here's what his actual initial response was before he fake threatened to sue people without even saying who he was considering suing, which is weird.
Alright, I was not even going to talk about this because I hate participating in the drama. I hate
the drama. It's the drama. I mean, this is... serious questions have been raised about his fucking funding stream, and that's the drama. And I was watching interviews with Taylor Lorenz last night after the stream. It was really... one interesting point she made is that, all these guys, including Pac-Man, were reached for comment about this story weeks in advance of publication. She was actually kind of betting on them preempting her story by doing some sort of big flashy intro, look at this great funding program for creators, and all that sort of thing, and then just sort of noting in the small print that, yeah, it's a project of a dark money group. But instead, even now, they're still trying not to talk about it. So let's see what this initial response was like.
Firing squad that often builds on the left. But it's really,
you're not on the left though. It's not a circular firing squad. It's just a normal rectangular one.
important that my audience know what's going on, so I am going to talk about it. I was named in an article in Wired yesterday. And
let's see, will he talk about it? Will he actually talk about what the article is about?
The article is about a so-called dark money group on the left called Chorus.
Not on the left. And in fact, it's not, again, it could be fucking anybody. Because it's dark money, there's basically no way of really tracing the funding.
And I'm named in the article along with other creators as being part of the group. And since
what it actually says is that his name showed up on onboarding paperwork for this creator incubator program, which is wild because this motherfucker's it has a 3 million subscriber following and has been on YouTube for ages. Like, if he's not incubated by now, then he's just not gonna fucking hatch.
Article came out. I've heard from a bunch of you. David, did you sell out?
How would this even count as selling out, though?
See, telling you what to say. How could you do this to us? I knew back in 2021 when you had the following to say that you must have been getting paid by someone, and here's the proof.
Okay. So far he's really trying not to talk about what the article says.
I was not even going to give this the time of day, but my relationship with you, my actual audience, is the most important thing. And so I decided to do this segment.
These gestures are so mechanical. I've never really watched much of this jabroni because he mostly kind of bores me. But, just his gestures, like, there are people who gesture naturally. I kind of turn it on and off. It depends a little bit on what language I'm speaking, really. I gesture quite naturally in, like, Spanish and Italian. Less so in English, but still somewhat. And you can tell it's natural because it isn't like this very strict rhythm being maintained. Whereas he gestures like he's been told that they'll shoot his dog if he doesn't do it on, in the exact right timing.
That other creators, like a Twitch streamer named Hassan Piker, were covering this in ways that don't reflect the reality of the situation and are perpetuating falsehoods about what is and isn't going on. Now, I can't speak to the motives.
Well, why not just speak to the facts? Okay, so talk about the 1630 fund. You care so much about your relationship with your fucking viewers. Fine, I would hope you do. That's but how about your relationship with the 1630 fund? Like, what is that?
Of the people that wrote the article, or those that are reacting to it, I can't get in their heads. All I can do is tell you what's going on. And then you can judge, and you can make an assessment of me. Now, I also want to mention, I'm aware that many of the people I'm hearing of aren't even part of my audience. They're doing...
I'm not part of his audience, but when you have this sort of thing where you have dodgy, non-transparent piles of money being used to amplify certain political voices... Mr. B Natural, nice MST3K reference. I can always count on you for the MST3K references, Badger.
Well, now I'm unsubscribing, and they mostly were never subscribed, and so I'm aware of...
I have to say, as a YouTube creator, you can, you're told the name of the person who just subscribed. Not always. In my experience, sometimes I will... switch one of my account, and suddenly it'll say, and I will have more subscribers than I remembered, but I will not get a notification saying who subscribed. But when people unsubscribe, you do not get a notification of that. Nobody says who unsubscribed.
But it doesn't matter, because I want to make sure my audience hears from me about this. Now, the most important thing
this is
the idea behind...
This is an 8-minute video, we're 2 minutes in, and so far he hasn't addressed anything.
Behind this group is exactly what I've been advocating for.
What's this gesture? Is he milking a cow or jerking somebody off?
For
and
years.
possibly his audience.
It's for years I've been saying the left needs to organize independent media in the way that the right
yeah, except
has been doing.
But they don't. Their media. The point is, their media is not independent. Like, what the fuck? Do you know what the word independent means? Because I think you will find that it does not mean that you are taking money from some dodgy fucking dark money group. And the right-wing media that is about as independent as one arm from the other, actually. I mean, seriously. You can watch in real time how their talking points get disseminated. Fucking Chris Rufo will say some shit on Twitter, and all of a sudden, for 2 weeks, it's all these fuckers will be talking about. They never cared about it before, but Chris Rufo said it, so now, like, every single one of them, fucking Pim Tool and the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro.
The left needs to fund independent creators the way that the right does. The right has won even arguably
But, okay, how are you defining independent, though?
presidential elections because they're organized with regard to online and independent media.
That is not why they win, though. I mean, yes, it is true that the Democrats, which is what he really means by the left, let's be honest. He doesn't want to say the Democrats, but that's all he really means, are absolute shithouse when it comes to any kind of new media, because they all they want is to have people who are on these platforms and are just spewing talking points, and anyone who goes beyond that, they immediately view with suspicion. I mean, Taylor Lorenz was another thing I was thinking of looking at after this. It's an interview video Taylor Lorenz gave that was background into this story, but also what I found really interesting and learned a lot from was she was talking about, like, the DNC's relationship with new media, and there were some bits that I remembered that I remembered from the time, like Hassan Piker's fucking credentials getting revoked in real time on stream at the convention because he interviewed someone from the Uncommitted movement. But there was other stuff that I had not actually heard before and was really quite interesting. But that's not the problem. The problem is that people don't like what you're selling.
Killing us. We've been so behind. And this kind of support for creators is exactly what
it's another ball-grabbing gesture.
Advocating for. Now, the article is riddled with inaccuracies. And
okay, so we're now 243 of 810 in there. So let's hear an inaccuracy.
They're not minor inaccuracies.
Okay, so we got inaccuracies, non-minor ones. Okay, give us an example.
First and foremost, this group has nothing to do with the DNC.
That's not in the article. The article does not say that.
People writing saying the Democratic Party is telling people what to say.
I mean, they are. I mean, what do you call, again, revoking Hassan Piker's fucking credentials live on stream because he interviewed a delegate that the DNC didn't want to have to see platformed? Like, what do you call that? That feels like them telling people what to say. But that's not what the fucking article is about.
Base, the group has nothing to do with the DNC period.
Which group are we talking about, though? Like, are you talking Chorus or the 1630 Fund? Because there's a distinction there. Chorus has been public all along.
Number two, I do not get clearance for anything I say.
That is also not in the article.
I do not run interview questions by anyone at Chorus. I don't.
Well, this article, it's worth noting, was only peripherally about Chorus. Because Chorus, again, has been public all along.
Tell Chorus when I'm going to be doing an interview. Not a single segment I have done, not a single question I've ever asked a guest has anything to do with Chorus.
I mean, okay. And as I said last night, looking at his later video where he, like, fake threatened to sue people and then immediately walked it back and didn't even have the guts to say who he was thinking of suing, which is weird because the article is signed and the publication that it's in is known. I mean, if he was thinking of suing Wired and Taylor Lorenz, he could have said that, but he very specifically didn't. But okay. So, but as I said last night, like, if he's saying that his contract is not like the ones that Taylor Lorenz based the article on, or that have become public, then he could just tell us, he could disclose his contract. Is there any reason you can't disclose your contract, David Pacman? Is that required to be kept confidential? Because, again, when you've got that kind of a non-disclosure sort of thing, and you're sitting here and you're, like, in, the political influencer space, that's a little dodgy, isn't it?
They don't tell me what to talk about. They don't tell me who to interview. They don't tell me how to cover a story.
I mean, after all, they wouldn't need to. Like, the reason that he is connected with them, and again, he's still talking about Chorus, never mentioned the 1630 Fund, which is what the whole fucking article is about. They wouldn't need to. The reason that he's even with them is because they know he says the things they want him to say, and he does not say the things they don't want him to say.
There are no restrictions of any kind on my content. I've never covered a story.
What's very interesting about the way he's saying this again, I mean, yesterday when we were looking at the later video, Adria, I said the exact same thing yesterday. I would be absolutely unsurprised, since he is just such a big creator in the first place, in his own right, before Chorus even came into it. I mean, they probably would have had a different deal. And yesterday he was making very vague denials. It was not clear whether he was denying it as to himself or denying it as to all participants. And here he's very specifically denying these things in relation to himself, not in relation to everybody who is connected with Chorus, not in relation to everyone who is getting fucking dark money.
Because Chorus suggested I do it. I've never not covered a story because Chorus suggested I not do it.
Okay, and the other thing is we don't actually have a full list, even now, of the people that are part of this incubator thing. I mean, this is something Taylor Lorenz was pointing out in one of the videos I was looking at last night after stream. I mean, she was making the point, if you want to say that this is like a politically diverse bunch of people, just show us. Show us who they are so we can actually look at their content and judge for ourselves. Like, why the fucking secrecy? But here he is very specifically saying, I here. He could say nobody, he could be saying nobody in Chorus. And this is very clearly rehearsed, like right down to the fucking gestures. Hey, River Rune. Right down to the gestures, this is rehearsed. Because it would be very easy to sort of, if you were ad-libbing this, which he clearly does not want to do. I really do not feel like he's ad-libbing here. It would be very easy to sort of broaden your denials, but he's making much more specific ones here. It's all about him personally. Like, nothing about, Chorus in general, nothing about the 1630 Fund yet.
There is no content relationship of any kind.
What is a content relationship? Like, what does that even mean?
So what does Chorus do?
Yeah, okay, so we're nearly halfway through this video. He still has not mentioned the subject of the story.
They run technical trainings, how to produce content, how to make your operation more efficient, how do you take a small shop of 1, 2, or 3 people and put content out on multiple platforms the way I've been doing successfully for decades. They set up mentorship relationships between larger creators like me and small up-and-coming creators who are looking to do content.
See, and here's another thing. I mean, like, okay, if this is also above board, I mean, the normal thing to do, if you have that kind of relationship with smaller creators and you're a big creator, which, I mean, fucking Pac-Man certainly is. Fuck knows why. I don't see it myself, but apparently other people do. Is you promote them. You say, look, I've been working with these couple of people for a while now, and you should really totally put your eyeballs on them. You could have a you could have a segment called the Milquetoast Lib Eyeball Zone.
Which is something I've said for years we need to be doing. They do advocacy trainings. They do media.
Well, I mean, advocacy trainings is interesting, because then we're getting into, like, political content.
Trainings. How do you deal with adversarial media, reporters with bad intentions who
okay, but I mean, again, notice he is talking about what this story is not about. But again, we're getting into, actually, when you start talking about this kind of coaching, you are very much talking about what people ought to say. Not in terms of an explicit restriction, but in terms of encouraging a particular approach.
Contact you. They do legal training, so we understand how is the right-wing machine potentially going to come after us. How do you organize your business to be protected? That's what they do. And I want to make this.
So is he saying that nobody's getting money? Because later on in the other response, he was kind of vague. He said nobody was getting paid for content, and then he said that there were scholarships. So it's really not clear what he's what he's saying there. But his name, the reason there's only one mention of David Pakman in this whole fucking article, and that was in onboarding paperwork for the scholarship program.
It's really clear, and I know that 99% of my actual audience knows this. If this was a group,
no true David Pakman viewer,
or an organization that required me to get permission before saying things, or fed me talking points.
You just described them feeding talking points. Like, that's what advocacy training is. That can be innocuous, it's worth noting. Because sometimes you feed people talking points because they're dealing with a hostile environment and they're not used to it, and sometimes it's useful to have certain. That can be a totally innocuous thing, to be clear. Like, I mean, a lot of training for, like, how to deal with the cops is feeding people talking points. Like, I'm not going to say a word to you without a lawyer, and I don't consent to any searches. That's feeding somebody a talking point, too. But, I mean, you can't, on the one hand, say you're telling people how to deal with adversarial media and how to, talk about certain things and how to advocate about certain things, and not say that there aren't talking points in there. Well, I hope it went well. I haven't dared to ask because I figured you would bring it up when you felt like you would, when you felt like you could. I didn't want to press.
Or told me, David, talk about this and not about that, or anything like that. I would never.
Again, it's all about him here, and that's okay, but this isn't just him that we're talking about. And the article was not about him. The article barely mentions him. So is he saying that this is true of the other creators who are part of this thing?
Never be part of it, period. Anyone who knows me would know that. Now, I'm one of the larger creators in the current cohort. I want to help others grow.
Okay, we're at 5 minutes out of 8. He still has not addressed the actual subject of the fucking article.
I want to mentor people.
And he has not explained it. This video is called "They're Trying to Take Us Down." He's not said who they is.
I want to grow the left media space.
You're not part of it.
Something I've been advocating for years. And now the circular firing squad is getting going. You look at TikTok, you look at these different platforms, people going after each other, most of it based on misunderstandings or misreporting about what's happening.
Okay, well, you could clear that up. You still got 3 minutes to clear that up and explain what the relationship between your operation and the 1630 Fund is.
Now, let me go to another aspect of this. I've seen messages like, oh, David, when you said X in 2024, that must have been because they told you to. oh, David, this explains your take on Bolivia from 2017. Now,
I mean, it probably does. I don't remember what his take on Bolivia was, but I imagine it probably sucked shit.
oh, I get why you said that. Or when you did that interview in 2022, it must have been because Chorus told you to.
Again, with Chorus, this isn't about Chorus.
Even if you wrongly believed that I was now completely compromised by...
Yeah, well, I mean, cohort in this particular context is not a particularly unusual word, but what is really interesting is that he really, really does not want to talk about the 1630 fund. And I don't know, I don't think he's doing himself any favors at this point. I don't think, like, anyone with Chorus is doing themselves any favors by not talking about it. Because it's out there. We've read the article. Anyone who wants to read the article could do it. Yeah, tic-tac, apparently. I mean, what benefit does he get out of pretending that pretending that this is still a secret?
my participation in this group, this thing is brand new. It's like 8 weeks old or something like that. Maybe 10 weeks old, something like that.
Okay, now I'm kind of curious. How long? I want to see if I'm looking for the article to try to put a date on that. For anyone who wants to look with me, here is the link to the article without a paywall. Okay, so in June, okay, this is okay. Was it before? Was anything like this? Okay. Okay, the program kicked off last month, and creators involved were told by Chorus that over 90 influencers were set to take part. We don't have that list. Yes, absolutely. I second everything that River Rune just said there. So, okay, so apparently it kicked off last month. IPAC.
This. So the revisionism of going back and going, now I understand why.
That's not revisionism. First of all,
only are they not directing content today. This thing is brand new, so that's just like impossible.
Well, okay, that's kind of weird. Because Chorus isn't brand new. Chorus has been around for a bit, and it's been public all along. So what thing is brand new?
One other thing I want to mention. The article identifies my friend Brian Tyler Cohen as the co-founder of this group. And now he's being attacked as well.
Yes, but not so much over the group. Over the funding. Like, okay, we got 2 minutes left in this video. Is he going to mention it?
His motives being impugned. Brian worked on this as a volunteer. He has spent hundreds of hours.
I mean, okay, so this is yet another appeal to guilt. Like when he says my true viewers, my true fans, whatever. I mean, that is also an appeal to guilt. It is, I mean, this is very, very creepy, sort of gaslighty shit he's doing here.
For not a penny on this project. Solely because he, like me, believes we need this type of organization on the left.
You were, again, not on the left, but okay.
They're killing us on the right. He doesn't need to be doing this for himself. He's trying to do this to build up left-wing content creators.
He isn't one himself, and he doesn't seem to like left-wing content creators very much.
As am I. And so the framing of Brian as some kind of villain in this entire thing, it's just farcical and pathetic. So
I mean, I have to say, I mean, his response is much less unhinged and dishonest than Brian's, but
bottom line is,
okay,
we need more of this on the left.
We got 60 seconds left. Bets? Anyone want to bet whether we're going to hear the actual subject of the article, i.e. the Dark Money Group 1630 Fund mentioned?
Not less. We need more organization and infrastructure and people understanding.
And dark money.
Do you build a content machine? How do you produce a podcast? How do you grow an audience? How do you distribute it? How do you organize your day? What's your YouTube setup like? The article is designed to attack and degrade.
No, it isn't. I mean, there's nothing degrading in the article. Like, I mean, see, I'm just sitting here thinking, if you want to respond to this and you have nothing to hide, which is, first of all, I mean, the obvious, that's what's interesting to me. First of all, the fact that they didn't just preempt it the way that Taylor Lorenz actually said that they easily could have done, since they knew about this weeks before the story was published. That's interesting. But then, I mean, the obvious thing to do, I mean, you could take a page from the U.S. response to WikiLeaks when the diplomatic cables and the Afghanistan war logs came out, revealing all sorts of criminal shit. And after a while, one of their main lines was, "Oh, well, there's nothing really actually all that important in here. All it does is confirm that all it does is confirm that we are telling the truth, that we say in public what we say in private," and stuff like that. Like, he could do one of those and say, "Oh, well, this is no big deal, everybody's doing it," or something like that. But he's not doing that. In fact, what he's doing, I cannot imagine that he's really doing himself any favors here. I find it really, really interesting, because it seems like from a damage control standpoint, you'd want to, like, sort of deflate the whole 1630 fund by saying, yeah, of course, everybody fucking does that. But he doesn't. He doesn't even mention it. Even though the people he's trying to, like, get back on side are people who have read this article and certainly know that this is what we're talking about. And that begins to look like he's really, 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 he does not want to be talking about the 1630 fund, and then you have to ask, why? I mean, it's not exactly a new thing for, like, political operatives to be getting dodgy money in the U.S. It's kind of how it's done.
I can't speak to the motives of the people behind it, so I won't even speculate.
Well, maybe they just like transparency.
My involvement is as I've described it here. There's nothing more, and there's nothing less.
Well, I mean, there is something more in the sense that there's the actual subject of the fucking article.
Less. It's up to you to decide whether you trust a particular creator. It's up to you.
Well, yeah, it is up to us, all of us, to decide that. But it helps to have all of the relevant information. Like, for example, I might find a creator trustworthy. I think that what they're saying seems kind of reliable. They seem legit. And then it turns out actually they're taking money from some really dodgy people. And it shines a completely different light on everything that I had been previously impressed with. And that is the situation here. And the way... he is just not doing damage control at all. He's just, like, dancing around it.
Decide what sort of structural organization the left should pursue. But what I can tell you is that the Circular Firing Squad...
Oh, God. Like, could we please not?
...is how the left loses. When we start turning each other over what at the end...
Like what left? This motherfucker isn't in it.
...end of the day. So I'm sick of the losing. I'm trying to win. Join me.
And do we get paid too? Do we get the $8,000 a month?
If you also are trying to win, and then maybe we can have some better outcomes in future elections.
Like, one of the interesting things in the contract that was leaked, that
every single year, the influencer.
Like, one of the creators who is getting paid on this program released her contract, bits of it anyway, supposedly thinking that this was showing that this wasn't a big deal. But instead, it actually showed all sorts of things that had to receive clearance. and referred to, you know, content in line with the chorus policy agenda. And it's like, okay, so there is a chorus policy agenda. Fine. It is okay, you know, that is, like, I am a political person doing, like, however small media activity. I have a political agenda as well, and I think anyone who watches this knows what it is. But, you know, if you have, like, this, like, funding conduit, and they say they have a policy agenda, well, I mean, the most basic thing to ask for is, what's the agenda? Like, what's on the list? What are the things you're trying to achieve? And do we actually agree with it?
2016, I was a politics reporter covering the election.
Okay, this is Taylor Lorenz's video that I was talking about. That there was some really interesting stuff in it, so I thought we'd watch a little bit of that.
I was traveling across the country, attending Trump rallies and talking to voters. And one thing that a lot of them had in common is that they had discovered Donald Trump and his MAGA movement on the internet. They were bombarded by his content on platforms like Facebook and Reddit, and fed his messaging through a burgeoning ecosystem of far-right online influencers and forum admins. Online influence was central to Trump's rise and played a huge role in his 2016 win. On election night in 2016, while almost the entire mainstream media was huddled up in the Javits Center watching Clinton lose,
Well, I mean, I think we were all watching Clinton lose wherever we were. From the very start, it was like, I mean, what gets me about how this goes down, is that the people who point out why, like, having shitty right-wing Democrats with shitty right-wing agendas as the candidates is a losing strategy. The people who say, you know, if you want to win, you probably should do better, are the ones that then get blamed for the outcome. It's like, motherfucker, if you listened to us, you wouldn't have had the outcome.
small handful of other journalists were across town at the Midtown Hilton, where Donald Trump was camped out with his family and campaign advisors. I was in.
Okay, I'm gonna skip over. There was. Okay.
Army that got turned on to politics and Trump. These far-right online creators and the groups of reactionaries who followed in their footsteps,
Man, the fucking caterpillars on his eyes,
eventually came to amass enormous power and serve as the backbone for the broader right-wing media ecosystem even today.
Yeah, this is the independent media that fucking Pac-Man was talking about. Like, they're fucking Crowder, if you remember, like last year, yeah, it was a whole just volcano erupted in the right-wing cinematic universe because Crowder turned down like a $50 million deal from the Daily Wire because it had certain provisions related to like terms of service on the platforms that they'd be posting and stuff. And so, and the result of this, it got really, really ugly. And suddenly you had all, you know, the entire right-wing ecosystem online sort of divided between people who were defending Crowder and people who were defending the Daily Wire. And the amount of money that is being thrown around at these assholes, at these complete talentless hacks whose entire thing is they go and sit in front of a microphone and say slurs and, like, talking points that fucking Chris Rufo came up with. Speaking of talentless hacks. And, you know, it is really just, there's one big fucking money conduit, and, I mean, not exactly one, but very close, several very, very closely related ones, let's put it that way. And that is why they have message discipline. That, and they have absolutely, they're fucking empty people.
2020 hit and the pandemic forced everyone online. You'd think that the Democrats would have embraced new media, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, David Pacman is an easy one to cut out because he sucks. His takes suck. Yeah, he's one of these people who wants to engage with like sort of left-leaning liberal viewers, but then he won't talk about Gaza. He won't call the thing by its name.
After all coalescing around
One thing I have to say I really appreciate about Taylor Lorenz, apart from the fact that the Fash absolutely detest her, is she is one of the few media people in the U.S. who still acknowledges that there's a pandemic and won't shut up about it, and we need more of that.
Biden, it was primarily progressive and Democrat influencers themselves who banded together to try to get Trump out of office, with minimal support from the party. In late 2020, hundreds of Gen Z content creators joined up under the name TikTok for Biden and produced a steady stream of content urging young people to get out and vote.
And then he turned around and fucking banned the whole platform because it was giving people the facts about Gaza.
Democrat. After Joe Biden won, he thanked this group specifically and told members of TikTok for Biden, which rebranded as Gen Z for Change, that they were integral to rallying support online and delivering him a win. Biden's White House attempted to engage more with influencers, especially in
this is okay. Here is the part where I learned some very interesting, not surprising exactly, but interesting new things.
COVID had made everyone, including the media and even men in Silicon Valley who had maligned the influencer industry for years, realize that the creator economy...
Which is wild that people in Silicon Valley, of all places, would be maligning that. Like, motherfucker, they're paying your salary.
Was probably here
Them
to
in the
stay,
Pentagon.
but they still sort of treated it as a sideshow that was secondary to traditional media outlets like CNN and the New York Times. In 2021, the Biden White House...
Taylor Lorenz, L-O-R-N-Z. Oh, it's up on the screen right here. You can see it. Right here, you got her byline. And she's got a YouTube channel, which is where this video is.
Worked with influencers to promote the rollout of the COVID vaccines. And in 2022, the administration...
And the thing is, I mean, the wild that we saw fucking Brian Taylor Cohen trying to claim that she's, like, besties with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, which is wild when you know, like, those motherfuckers had her swatted repeatedly. Like, had her family swatted. They doxed her family. I mean, she has taken more serious hits from the far right than either of those two jabronis.
Administration began briefing TikTokers about the war in Ukraine. But soon, influencers began asking hard questions, especially those progressive Gen Z influencers who helped get Biden elected.
See, here we go. Here's the new stuff.
When Biden falsely declared that the pandemic was over in 2021 and started to dismantle public health and enact policies on COVID that were further to the right of Donald Trump, disability justice influencers challenged him. And when Biden approved drilling projects that would devastate the environment, climate activists on TikTok fought back. Then, after October...
Yeah, I mean, see that, okay, see, this is the stuff that I actually didn't really know about, because I don't really follow TikTok. Yeah, I mean, definitely worth checking out. Here, I'll simplify things. I'll give you the link, again, to this video, and then you can just kind of subscribe directly there. Just,
October 7th, when Biden began manufacturing consent for a genocide against the Palestinians and sought to ban TikTok because it was allowing young people to see what was
yeah, I mean, thank you, TikTok, for Biden.
Actually happening in Gaza, content creators began asking tough questions of the administration. Biden's response, though, was to completely cut them off. The White House began leaving progressive content creators off invite lists and only working with milquetoast Democrat creators who...
I wonder, I'm guessing David Pacman probably was not hurting from this.
Towed the party line and basically never spoke out against injustice. Khalil Green, a history content creator, told me at the time, quote, "I have noticed that there have been a lot more events with creators at the White House. But the creators that are getting invited are the creators who are very pro-Biden and just parroting talking points or sharing photo ops of them smiling with the president.
Yeah.
Not the creators who have been critical." Green
said
that he hadn't been invited to the White House since he criticized the administration over the TikTok ban and genocide in Gaza.
Yeah, I mean, see, this, I'm not surprised about these things, but I had never actually heard these sorts of details. But this is like her main beat as a reporter, really, Taylor Lorenz, is this sort of stuff, like the influencer space. Which makes her actually, I mean, that makes her very interesting for somebody like me who is, like, trying to keep an eye on, you know, far-right influencers and shit like that. But I didn't know anything about this.
Woo Henry, a political influencer and digital strategist who has worked on Democratic campaigns, told me that while the Biden White House once treated creators as independent media, after influencers began questioning Biden on things like Gaza, the administration began playing favorites. She told me, quote,
I mean, so, which is really, it's worth noting, for example, that the outrage when certain media outlets don't get their credentials revoked to the White House briefing room, like, you know, because Trump doesn't like them or something like that. And reasonably so. Like, that is reasonable to be pissed off about. Even though, actually, you could just not go to the briefing room in the first place, because that's not where stories get broken. That's just where the fucking talking points are. You could have somebody watch it on TV, you'd have absolutely no... you would have no less information as a result. But when it comes to this stuff, there was absolutely no fanfare, and this is the sort of thing I'm surprised I didn't hear about this, because I heard about all sorts of other shit that he was doing. But this did not, as far as I can tell, like, in the places that I am, this was not talked about at the time.
Team is trying to say that they're handling influencers like the press. But the thing is, the press briefing room has to have Fox News no matter what. They have to allow all the media in. When it comes to influencers, the Biden admin only lets in people who agree with them. Anyone else who gives a little bit of pushback is not welcome. This picking and choosing and trying to control the influencer landscape had stark consequences for Biden, as I wrote about at the time in the Washington Post. In the first 4 months of 2024, nearly a...
Okay, now I'm going to skip ahead a bit.
As a nonprofit advocacy organization start to emerge. One of the most high-profile ones is a nonprofit called Chorus. Chorus launched with a splashy profile in the New York Times.
Yeah, again, I mean, when Pac-Man, etc., try to act like this is all about Chorus, like, Chorus, it was never the story. Because, again, when Chorus was launched, they were launched in the fucking New York Times. That was not a revelation.
By journalists Shane Goldmacher and Ken Bensinger. Chorus billed itself as a nonprofit advocacy organization and creator-led hub dedicated to helping independent media figures expand their reach and push democratic policy. Chorus also positioned itself as a quasi-newsroom, akin to what conservative...
Okay, does he know right there that he's wearing, like, the official uniform of neo-Nazis in Germany? That jacket, that white fucking t-shirt. I mean, that is like the official Nazi outfit.
Groups have built on the right, but for liberal creators. According to a pitch deck that I obtained, Chorus claimed that it wanted to change how progressive content creators operate by providing ongoing stability, resources.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, she probably is more of a lib. But she's like, I mean, sometimes you have liberals who actually do some good work as well. And, like, the fact that she will acknowledge that there is a pandemic and acknowledge there is a genocide, you don't get, there's not as much overlap as you would like in like, media spaces there. But, I mean, in her case, it helps that she's, you know, in terms of acknowledging the pandemic, that she's very public about this. Very immunocompromised, so she can't fuck around with this stuff.
Sources and support that legacy journalists and conservative commentators count on. I'd love to know how legacy journalists have that kind of support, but that's another issue. Chorus said that it would, quote, leverage the tenets of its cohort to help creators hyperscale their audiences and break through across platforms and genres.
Okay. Recruit, train, and support. Financial support, notice, number 1 here. Chorus aims to help provide livable stipend to creators, which, I mean, again, not against that by any means. I wouldn't mind. I'm a creator. I want a livable stipend. I don't want it from a fucking Dark Bunny group. Allowing them to dedicate themselves full-time to this endeavor and become stronger voice on issues. I mean, proofreading issues aside. Yeah, I mean, this is what I was talking about yesterday when I was like, even if your donation, like, let's say you make donations anonymously, you know, because you don't want somebody to feel beholden to you personally. Oh God, yes. Yeah, I mean, that was beautiful. It doesn't actually matter that you do not specifically, you know, that the people who are getting donations from you are unaware that it's you they're getting them from, because at the same time, because even if you're completely in the shadows and nobody has any idea, you're still leaving a stamp, because you are supporting the people who you feel are worthy of support. So suddenly you are putting your stamp on the ecosystem. However, you know, prominent that stamp is will vary depending on how much money you're dealing out, but that's the thing. There is an act that is influence, because, I mean, in fact, it reminds me actually of some of the stuff that was sort of, you know, discovered really as a result of the revelations of the degree to which the German state funds neo-Nazi groups. And because one of the things they noticed is, you don't need to actually fund existing leaders, because whoever you fund will end up being the leader, because whoever's doing shit is the person who ends up having a following. And the people who do shit are the people who can afford to dedicate the time and effort and money to doing it. I mean, and I think that's probably, and that's kind of true across the board. That isn't just Nazis that are like that. Like, people who want to be doing shit are going to follow somebody, you know, are going to flock around to somebody who seems to be a person to be with to actually get shit done. And if you give somebody money, they're going to become that person, to a certain extent.
It also said that it would, quote, recruit, train, and support.
The collaborative will help creators scale their audiences to new platforms and work together on new programming. See, okay, this is under number 2, scale and sustainability, and that, again, does sound like they're having influence on content, which is not surprising.
High-impact content creators who want to elevate essential issues and bring news into the cultural space. It would do this through financial support and shared resources like studio space, editors, researchers, bookers, and...
I mean, which again, I mean, quite apart from the cash contributions, let me just say, like, that is huge. Because, I mean, I don't know if any of you have ever tried to do video production at all, but the stuff you need, you don't know until you actually set out to do it what you need in order to make a fucking video look good. Because if you're using regular lights, for example, and you don't pay attention to how they're set up and stuff and how they're regulated, your videos look like your videos are going to end up looking like shit. I mean, I speak from bitter experience. I have recorded hours of stuff, and then I get it in there, and I try to do my color grading and stuff, and it's grainy as hell, or it's because the lighting is bad. Like, the amount of stuff you need in order to be able to produce, like, a professional looking video that has good quality audio, because people will forgive shitty video quality. I thank all 410 of those who forgive it enough that they subscribe. But people will not forgive shitty audio unless they absolutely, if the audio sucks, if they don't absolutely need to hear what you're saying, they won't. And that stuff is expensive, actually. Like a good microphone, a good microphone can run you $200 unless you get lucky and somebody lends you theirs or something, or you find one used. The lighting rigs and stuff like that. All of that stuff is expensive. So you're giving somebody, when you say they're providing resources like studio spaces, editors, researchers, bookers. I mean, well, that the studio spaces and editors part means you don't have to learn how to do the technical end of post-production yourself. For one thing. I mean, if you're getting like professional editing, that's huge. That's a huge amount of time you do not have to spend learning how to use, Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve, which incidentally, if you're looking to learn how to do this stuff and you don't want to spend a bunch of money, DaVinci Resolve rocks. I absolutely love it. The free version is incredible. It's amazing how fully featured it is. That's what I would go with. That is my Seagull recommendation, apparently, is what I'm calling those. But, with legal and fact-checking, okay, I mean, but the studio spaces and editing to give, that is worth like thousands on an ongoing basis. That's not like a one-off expense either, because if you're renting studio space, that's expensive. But if you're upgrading and building a, studio space for yourself, that's expensive as shit too. So that is a lot of money that you're putting towards creators. And I mean, if somebody were to like offer me that and they weren't dodgy as hell, if we had some sort of cooperative, of actual like revolutionary creators, if BreadTube were an actual thing, beyond just being a subreddit, and we had those sorts of facilities you could just make available, I mean, that would absolutely rock. But that's a shitload of money, and you are very much putting your stamp on the ecosystem by selecting people to give this largesse to and other people not to.
And fact-checking services.
Okay, remember, here's another thing, because we keep on hearing that there's no influence on content. Let me read this here. Message support and cohesion will be critical. Mega creator Brian Tyler Cohen will give regular message guidance to ensure a chorus of voices speaking about the same thing at the same time. So that sounds like there's some influence on content, actually.
Editors, researchers, bookers, and legal and fact-checking services. Chorus boasted that the brand was able to amass 50,000 followers on social media accounts and that it had already...
Wait, the Chorus DNC Chair Forum? Oh, okay, that is yeah. Their first of its kind creator-led forum for the Democratic Party chair candidates. Well, I mean, again, it's worth noting there that this is their stuff. This is one of their slides. And the DNC does not just let anyone set up something like this for their candidates. That is a friendly relationship, to say the very least.
Attracted at least 4,000 donors to support its mission. From the beginning, it was clear that Chorus was tightly aligned with the Democratic establishment. In January, Chorus bragged that the organization was the first to host a, quote, creator-led forum for the Democratic Party chair candidates. That same month, Chorus announced a partnership with Impactual LLC.
What the hell is Impactual LLC? It sounds gastrointestinal. Social impact and creative agency operating at the intersection of pop culture, philanthropy, media, and politics. 18th Street Northwest in D.C. And interestingly, like, their branding looks a lot like the Democratic Party's branding.
Interest Democrat consulting firm with deep ties to the Democrat donor space. The content creators that Chorus initially touted as being part of its founding group also included several holdovers from the Creators for Kamala days. But as Chorus's fundraising deck made it around to donors, it also ended up in the hands of some big-time talent agents and managers that represented or knew some of the less
Like, not that anyone's having influence on anybody's content. It's about dark money in the liberal YouTube space and how David Pacman and other top liberal YouTubers who are connected to this dark money want to talk about literally anything but the article, the content of the article.
Establishment creators featured in the deck. Some agents balked at their clients being included in a fundraising deck without their prior knowledge. And other anti-establishment or pro-Palestine creators who had never signed up to be part of Chorus were confused and angered that their images were being used to raise potentially millions of dollars without their consent. In addition to the
Yeah, I mean, I would be a little bit pissed off.
Influencers were also featured prominently on the Chorus website beneath a giant donate button. Users who clicked the donate button were taken to a fundraising page that read, quote, "Supporting Chorus means supporting independent online voices."
The page has since been removed. But, like, what the fuck does independent mean at that point? Independent of what exactly?
And building the next era for online news and conversation. But donations made via that page did not go directly towards the creators pictured. Multiple influencers featured on Chorus's website were frustrated that they were included on the page and used to solicit small dollar donations without their consent. Progressive YouTuber and former Media Matters staffer Kat Abugazaya, who's running for Congress in Illinois, was pictured on Chorus's website and included in fundraising decks without her approval.
Oh, let's see. Well, there's David Pacman.
Was pictured on Chorus's website and included in fundraising decks without her approval. She asked that her image and name be removed and no longer used for fundraising and marketing purposes. When I asked Chorus about this back in April, Chorus's co-founder, Brian Tyler Cohen, issued a statement through his comms director saying, quote, "Chorus came together quickly on a few Zoom calls with creators after November, and we've been running at full sprint since then."
I mean, that says really kind of nothing.
I would never want to put another creator in a difficult position for any reason, and we removed Kat when she asked. Ali O'Brien, a progressive creator.
Oh, she's the one who thought she was diffusing the story by showing highlighted provisions of her contract, and that the contract actually totally confirmed what Taylor Lorenz was saying to a degree that actually went beyond what she had actually said in the article.
Featured on Chorus's website below the donate button, said that the company must have just taken an image of her off social media. She said, quote, "I did not even know that I was on this website. I am not financially tied to them at all."
Oh, no, that is... Okay, no, that isn't her. Sorry, whoever that was. She just had similar hair.
V-Sphere, known as Under the Desk News, who has over 3.6 million followers on TikTok, told me, quote, "I'm not in any collective at all. That's my problem with the way it went down. I don't think anyone should be pitching me other than me. What we need is for people to invest in independent media, and that doesn't necessarily mean investing in a consulting group that is going to become a middleman for independent media."
Yeah, and, like, actually... I remember when Amy Goodman went on, I think Charlie Rose it was, years ago, and he was kind of flummoxed by the concept of independent media. But at this point, it is being used so willy-nilly by outfits that are by no means the sort of thing that is meant by that term, that I think we need to be more precise. Like, independent of what exactly?
This effort to act as a bridge between creators and political leaders ruffled the feathers of influencer management companies and talent agencies as well, whose job it is to negotiate opportunities for their talent. Representatives from
and to get the best deal for them, at least theoretically.
big-name creators told me that they felt like Chorus was luring their clients with promises of access to political leaders, quote, then they go to a bunch of donors who don't know anything about the creator space except that we need a left-wing Joe Rogan, and they raise money from them.
I mean, and the thing is, what they've come up with, like, Joe Rogan is a piece of shit, let me say. I mean, completely full of shit. I like that meme that describes him as your loser, like, the loser stoner 27-year-old brother of your best friend in school, who lives in the basement or whatever. And except, like, also a fascist. But the thing is, he does have a certain authenticity about him. Like, there is a certain spontaneity to him that is completely absent from any of this shit.
Dollars that belong to the creators, the marketer said. Another representative at a major Hollywood agency who asked to remain anonymous told me that Chorus, quote, has no respect for how the entertainment industry works. They think they're smarter than the agents and the agencies. You can get away with that in the short term, but they're...
Well, because they don't really want to... The thing is that, for the most part, the agents and the agencies, they're trying to sort of market the creator as the creator to, you know, people who will be potentially into paying the creator a lot of money. Whereas this appears to be just kind of trying to turn out free political advertising. Well, not exactly free, but...
Party blackballed. There are only so many times that agents will allow some middleman to take ad dollars from our entertainers before they're like, F these people. And they're getting very close to that. After I reached out to Chorus for comment about all of this back in April, Chorus sent an email blast out to the creators in their network reading, quote, some reporters are reaching out to creators about Chorus.
Oh, here we go again with the ill intentions. Democracy Now! Has been taking money from big Amish.
And it seems with not great intentions. To me, this set off immediate red flags. As a journalist, anytime you reach out for comment about something and the company or organization immediately starts smearing you,
yeah, that reminds me of, like, the first experience I had that was in any way connected to union stuff. I was, like, I think 12 years old, and my mom's workplace was having a unionizing effort, which they badly needed because they were being treated like shit. And I remember she brought home this letter from the bosses about why that's not really a good idea. You don't want to get involved with those union people because they have bad intentions and all this sort of shit.
Especially when they're bad-mouthing you to people who have nothing to do with the story, claiming that you have not great intentions, you know that there's more to that story.
Yeah.
Let me just also say that claiming journalists whose job it is to challenge power, investigate wrongdoing, and report on news happening on their beats have some sort of bad intentions.
I mean, some of them certainly do, and often the organizations they work for absolutely do. But at the same time, I mean, it is very dodgy to be like, to be just sort of telling people, essentially warning people off, talking to them. That sounds a little bit like telling people what to say, which is a thing Chorus doesn't do. David Pacman told me that. He told me they don't tell people what to say, but they seem to be warning people off talking to journos.
Is really poor form. The job of a journalist is to be annoying. It's to piss people off. And especially to piss off people in power, and to hold organizations to account. So I kept digging and talking to creators. I spoke to several creators who attended an early Chorus activation at the Capitol for Trump's joint address to Congress. The influencers were brought to the Capitol by Chorus to create content promoting Democratic messaging. It was marketed to the liberal content creators as an opportunity to interview members of Congress. But when they showed up, it became apparent that Chorus hadn't actually booked interviews for anyone aside from Brian Tyler Cohen, who co-founded Chorus. One creator who
So the only person who got an actual interview, like, Okay, so their pitch to people is, we're going to make your career, and then the actual career-making thing in this sort of thing, in this sort of situation, wow, you know, is there like a chorus of link spammers on Twitch that have decided they want to uplift me by link spamming my fucking chat? Because that's like, I think that's like 5 streams in a row. But like, one of the things that you would do there to uplift creators that are under your wing in that sort of situation is get them big interviews. Because you get them an interview with somebody whose name will get searched more than the name of the creator. And yeah, that's gonna play a major role. I mean, that's sort of a universal in the thing. So only giving interviews to like the top, the top guy in the organization ain't a great look.
Told me, quote, it was essentially go to the Rayburn building and go trick-or-treating for interviews.
What?
It was so embarrassing. It didn't put us in the position to make good content.
That doesn't sound like very good booking support, I have to say. I've never had booking support, but if I had somebody who was doing booking support and they said, go to this building and walk around and see if maybe somebody will talk to you on air, I would fire that person, and I would probably leave a bad review.
After knocking on the doors of lawmakers' offices unannounced, the group of creators was able to generate content that ultimately...
Unannounced! Jesus, that's... I mean, how is that not the content? That shows a level of content control, because, like... that's fucking that's fucking Fire Festival. Not Fire Island. Fire Festival. The Fire Festival of liberal content slop creating. Like... Here, we're going to make your careers. We're going to come down to DC, and you're going to talk to all the top polys, and you're going to make content with them, and it'll be great. People, you get shitloads of views from that stuff. And then you get there, and it's like, okay, get in this building and walk around. Nobody knows that you're here. Nobody knows who the hell you are. See if somebody will talk to you. Like, there has to be some serious message control that was not the fucking content. Like, if somebody did that to me, and I had a camera with me, and it was actually, because I was going to be filming, I would be filming that shit. I would be filming that. That would be the thing. I would be putting, like, with some funny tuba music, say, talking about, this is the great career-making opportunity they gave me. Walk around this fucking building. FCNL?
Garnered over 53 million collective views. But afterwards,
fuck the Central Netherlands?
They were asked to submit that content that they created to Chorus in order to get their travel costs reimbursed.
Oh, see, that's why nobody made a funny video about that ridiculous way that they were treated.
This irked the creators, who felt like Chorus now wanted to use their content to put into a deck in order to show the Democrats who hired Chorus how successful their activation was, when in reality, the creators say that they received little to no support. vSphere of Under the Desk News told me, quote, it was Chorus's first test as a collective, and I wasn't there, but it didn't look like it went so well. Creators made good content, but they would have made that content without Chorus. Through a spokesperson, Brian Tyler Cohen responded to me saying, quote, while not everyone who went to DC with Chorus had the same experience.
Well, yeah, like, for example, the one person who went there with Chorus who actually had an interview arranged in advance in his pocket when he arrived. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would imagine they probably are pretty good at that. You know, I would imagine his experience was not the same as the people who were told, just walk around this fucking building and see if somebody will talk to you.
This trip led to dozens of interviews and posts that generated an audience more than 50% bigger than the speech itself. I'm proud that an organization only a few months old had that kind of impact, and we're iterating so the experience and our reach can be even bigger.
We're iterating.
A few months later, influencers began reaching out to
management speak.
Me again about Chorus. They told me about a new creator program that the organization was recruiting people for.
Okay, here we go. This is the actual story this is
I
about.
was interested, and so I started digging. Before long, someone leaked me a private group chat where dozens of Democratic political influencers were discussing whether to take advantage of an enticing opportunity. As I write in Wired, the influencers were being offered $8,000 per month to take part in a secretive program aimed at bolstering Democratic messaging on the internet. But the contract, which was sent to them from Chorus, came with some major strings.
Oh, okay, here we go. Here is... Okay, the survey... Okay. This is the contract with the 1630 fund. Oh, no, okay. This service agreement, this agreement made by and between Chorus, a project of... fun fact, legal writing guides will actually say you can leave out by and between and just say by or just between. This is old-ass boilerplate from like 100 years ago. There is no legal difference between by and between in this context. Just a little writing tip. A project of the 1630 Fund, a nonprofit corporation organized and operated as a tax-exempt organization on 501c3. So, okay, it very specifically says that Chorus is just a project of a dark money group.
Influencers in the group chat debated the details and whether or not to try to collectively bargain for changes in the contract. Lorenzo, a non-binary creator in Columbus, Ohio, with over 884,000 TikTok followers, asked the group, quote, "Should we send a joint email, or are we just going to send things separately and hope they change everything for everyone?" Eliza Orlins, a public defender and reality TV star, posted, quote, "Any Newsies fans here? We're a union just by saying so." Reproductive justice influencer named
Yes, this is... Okay, yeah, she quotes some of this in the article,
Perry,
too.
who posts under the handle @WomenInAmerica, posted in the thread, quote, "Reading through this revised Chorus contract, like, you win some, you lose some. I also think there's at least 4 other things that should change," laughing face. But the vibe I got from their email was that there would be minimal, if any, changes. Erin Parnas...
I mean, again, this does not exactly sound quite like the fucking warm and fuzzy description that we had initially.
A Gen Z news influencer who has been called the Gen Z Walter Cronkite posted to the chat, quote, "I don't feel strongly about pushing, to be honest, in regards to the contract. Quote, they aren't going to modify it anymore. Seems like a take it or leave it."
Well, I mean, and I would just say, if everybody left it, then they probably would... I mean, it would be worth just everybody leaving it and seeing what fucking happened.
The influencers who made up the chat have millions of collective followers and are some of the biggest names online posting in support of the Democrats. In the end, the majority of creators in the chat ended up signing the deal. I found out that the secretive program that the influencers were discussing in that chat is actually a massive new initiative. The goal of this new influencer program is to try to tip the balance of power on the internet towards the Democrats. And the program is being funded by a powerful liberal dark money group called the 1630 Fund that is working with Chorus. The 1630 Fund is distributing as much as $8,000 per month to influencers.
Yeah, and this is what this whole fucking thing is about. And none of them want to talk about it. That is the wild thing. I don't get, like, I really do not get why they are so hesitant to just say, yeah, okay, we're connected with the 1630 Fund. Lots of people are. It's kind of how politics works in this country and stuff. And, you know, try to minimize it. And it actually, I have to say, my sense of it, when I see, wow, she's got 2 copies of her book. I understand this entirely. When mine comes out, I'm probably going to have like 10 of them behind me. But, like, if somebody absolutely does not want to talk about something, not even to just diffuse it by saying, actually, this isn't a big deal, move on, no story here, whatever, show's over. That really sounds like it's actually much worse than what's come out, and they don't want to say anything. Like, that looks dodgy as fuck. I mean, the whole thing looks dodgy as fuck, to be honest. But the fact that they won't even just, you know, say, yeah, no big deal, who gives a shit, it's the, the 1630 fund, they do lots of stuff. Like, that looks just sketchy as hell.
Program kicked off last month, and the creators involved were told by Chorus that over 90 influencers were set to take part. Rather than launching the program as a public-facing initiative, however, where creators could openly and transparently use the funds to invest in their businesses, the program is being run in secret. Creators told me that if they were even so much as to acknowledge they were part of the program, the contract stipulated that they'd be kicked out and essentially cut off financially. Influencers included in communication and an onboarding session for those receiving payments from the 1630 fund include Olivia Juliana, the centrist Gen Z influencer who spoke at the DNC last summer, Barrett Adair, a content creator who runs an American Girl doll themed pro-DNC meme account.
Really? God, that sounds like something, that's a vision of hell. An American Girl themed centrist meme account?
Suzanne Lambert, who has called herself a Regina George liberal, Sander Jennings, a former TLC reality star and older brother of trans influencer Jazz Jennings, David Pakman, who hosts an independent progressive show on YouTube covering...
There's something very uncanny valley about him.
...news and politics, Lee McGowan, who goes by the online moniker Politics Girl, Lauren Pietra, a former Playboy executive turned political influencer who hosts a podcast for the Occupy Democrats, and dozens of others. According to copies of the contract that I obtained, the influencers are not allowed to disclose their relationship with Chorus.
Okay, which is interesting because like Chorus's existence is public, but they won't but they're not allowed to disclose that they're involved in it. Like, I mean, that whole thing, all of it, it's the secrecy that makes it actually seem more dodgy than anything. But it is time to wrap up, and for anyone who didn't see the link earlier, this is the link to the video we're checking out. Well worth watching. You can see the whole thing there. Just so you know, I am actually going out of town for a week, so I will not be streaming on Friday or Saturday. So we will see each other in 2 weeks on Friday at 11:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Thank you to everyone who joined in. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope you have a good fortnight. I look forward to seeing you.